Welcome to the Excelsior Health Podcast. This is the podcast for busy professionals who are looking to transform their health and bring out their warrior within. Today, guys, we have an amazing episode. This is a transformation story interview that we got today. One of my favorite people, one of my favorite students. Anytime I ask her for feedback, anytime I ask her to show up to an event, anytime I'm changing things about the program, she always has a positive attitude. She always has TFW's best interest in her heart, and she always shows up when I need her. So without further ado, welcoming to the podcast for the first time, my girl Nav. How you feel?
I feel good.
All right. So for context, it's been a while since we filmed. We did a bunch of episodes, me and Vero. And as I was prepping some of the stuff for yesterday, I was like, man, it'd be nice to do an interview. So for a long time, you've been in my thoughts about, hey, I want to do an interview when the time is right. So I messaged her late last night. I said, hey, are you willing to do it? And like I said, she's adopted the warrior mindset that it's like, hey, I got this. Let's do it. So I guess first and foremost, Nav, just explain a little bit about who you are. Give a little bit of history about yourself.
I'm 49 years old, and I have two boys, a 22-year-old and a 14-year-old, and they keep me very busy.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do for work?
I work for TD, and I work as a business application analyst.
Love it.
Yeah.
So in our program with Training for Warriors, like a lot of who we try to attract to our program, who we believe we best help, is busy professionals, busy parents. So like Nav checks all those boxes with flying colors as, hey, she's in her 40s, career-oriented woman. She's also a mom, right? Her oldest is in his 20s, youngest is teens now.
Yeah.
He was like a little guy, but now he's in his teens, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, hey, what I want to start talking about today, like you've accomplished so much in the program, so much in your personal life. And one thing that I truly believe in is like our stories are other people's salvation. Mm-hmm. So your story is very impactful. And I think today when you start to get into it, a lot of people are going to be inspired. And I'm sure a lot of people who train with you on a regular basis, they have no idea what you've overcome and what you've accomplished, right? So I'm excited for you to share it. To start, let's go back. So how long have you been a student now?
I've been a student at TFW for 7 years. I started in November of 2018.
Mm-hmm. So when I say this is my girl, like 7 years she's been here, and we've been on vacations together. 1 year back in, this was what, 2019?
19, yeah.
2019, we did a vacation summit. So a couple of our students, they brought their family members. I brought my family. We had a couple of our coaches. And we just had this amazing experience outside of the program where we worked out every single day. Yeah. We learned, we shared, we talked about goals, and then we got sauce that night.
Yes.
We partied that night and we had a good time. But I know we had some strong connections, especially from there. And a lot of what you're going to talk about today is some of the stuff I learned about you. But take us back. Let's go back 7 years ago. And how were you feeling? What made you start?
7 years ago, I was in a place in my life where I wasn't really happy with my physique, and I was, going through a lot of emotional ups and downs. And in 2013, my husband had passed away suddenly, and I had to really just pick myself up for my boys at the time, and that was back in 2013, and years went by, and I just started not liking the way I look. And when I went to the doctors, the doctor was basically saying to me, you have to start, going to more of a healthier route. And I just didn't know what to do. And I came across TFW through my cousin's post. My cousin used to work out here, and she posted a story, and I saw her story, and I just said, hey, where are you working out? And she's like, oh, it's one of my high school friends. They opened a gym, and you had just started, I guess it was 2 years in maybe. Yeah. And she was like, it's great. You should come and try it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it. And then I think she used to come in the early morning. So I came, and the coach, Aaron was the coach back then. And she, took my in-body scan and everything. And I was like at 49% body fat. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And we did the workout, and there was no, I didn't have the one-on-one conversation, but I just fell in love with the program and with just the atmosphere. And, I haven't looked back since.
Yeah. And to give you my side of it too, I remember her first couple kind of workouts, very quiet, very reserved. I coached you, I think, most of those sessions.
Yes, in the beginning, it was you.
In the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember always, hey, Nav, are you okay? You feeling all right?
Yeah.
But the face was very observing. But it's now, if we fast forward, if we go to a session now, Nav walks in, she's like, hey, what's up? What's going on? High fives. One of the more louder people that represents. So much of the transformation, so cool, whether it's the physical, the emotional, the mental. But give us a little insight, I guess. How was it for you, even physically? You did you work out before?
So I come from a family of wrestlers, my dads, my uncles, they're all wrestlers. So physical activity was something I grew up with, but not where it was just cardio. It was really negative, your uncles are pushing you, but it wasn't a positive experience. So when I started here, I remember I started in November of 2018. So you guys had just come off of a shred and everyone was just chill and then shred season was starting in January and I was so, intimidated.
Yes, I remember this.
And I didn't want to join. So I just kind of, went behind the scenes and I was ignoring all the Facebook posts that you're putting in. And I missed the deadline. And then I remember you messaging me and saying, Nav, why aren't you joining the shred? And I'm like, well, I don't want to. I feel uncomfortable. And, one of the best decisions of my life was joining the shred at that time because I'm like, okay, I'll join. And I ended up losing 12 pounds of fat my first shred. And I got the rookie award. And I remember back then, just being so happy with the transformation and my clothes starting to fit. And I didn't realize at the time, TFW stands by saving lives. And at the time I didn't know that was going to become my reality, a couple of years later. And we'll go into that, I guess, more.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going into that. So yeah, just to give context, the shred season, it's a part of our program. So in this program, we just basically get all of our students together. We reinvigorate them with hey, what's your short-term goal? What are these 5 habits that we're going to really lock in and focus on to help us get back on track? So like Nav was saying, is she started in November. We finished the shred probably end of October, Halloween. And then now it was the new shred in January. And I remember you telling me this afterwards, how much it meant to you after you got the results and saying hey, coach, I was so close to not doing it, but I thank you so much for encouraging. So for me as a coach, that's kind of the reminder is sometimes is what words can we say to someone that just makes them take one step further? And who knows? I don't know if I don't make you do that shred, who knows if you end up being here for 7 years, right? Who knows if you fall in love with working out 4 days a week. So that's a good memory to go back in. Okay, so next thing that I want to go to, that's how you started. Obviously, you were a little bit intimidated. It was a while, but you came into the program. You started showing up in the mornings consistently. What led to some of the success that we're going to talk about? What was it about the program and what was it about you that you did that led to the results down the road?
It's honestly just walking into the dojo is refreshing, and it's just something that I look forward to every morning, even though in the mornings, sometimes you wake up and you don't feel like coming in, but once you're here, the atmosphere, the people that are around, it just makes your journey so much more easier when there's like-minded people that are working out with you. And, you learn so much from different coaches, different peers. And I feel like in the beginning, I remember having a conversation with you during shred, like the first shred, and we just went through the warrior plate method, and that's what I was doing. I was eating 3 meals a day, and I made sure I had like a quarter protein, a quarter of my carbs, and then like half my plate would be veggies and leafy greens and stuff.
Yep.
So that's what I did, and like I didn't know this at the time, but like it just becomes a lifestyle. There's certain things that you just keep doing after a shred. And that's basically what led me to, start leading a healthier lifestyle for myself, for my family.
Good.
And it was, that's what just keeps me consistent.
Good. And I want to touch on that point. Like, that's just like a simple tool that we use. A lot of things that we do here is simple. Simple doesn't necessarily mean easy, though. But, just a nutrition protocol is like, hey, when I look down on my plate, can I have a quarter of protein on there? Like the size of the plate. Can I have a fist of veggies on there? Can I have at least a fist of carbs? That simple framework gave her some direction to start seeing results when it came to the nutrition side of things. Just like even the workouts weren't these crazy complicated things. It was like, okay, we're going to do 4 to 6 exercises every single time you come in. And in the beginning, it was like focus on 3 days a week. Over time, it becomes 4 days a week. So I guess one point that I want to hit is like complexity is the enemy of execution. If you are just like everything's so confusing, you're not going to do nothing. But if you can simplify to a few habits, like Nav said, then you're able to scale that and actually see some results. So in terms of results, what are you proud about? Because you've done a lot over the last 7 years. Share with me some like performance, some of your fat loss journey, like things that you're super proud about.
I'm proud of like basically like when the first shred and I lost like 12 pounds of fat, and I'm like, wow, I can do this. It's possible. Because at one time I didn't think it was ever going to be possible, and you just become comfortable in your skin. So then, you look at other people and they're doing like these warrior challenges and, all these like Sisu challenges. And so I started doing like the knee grabs, like once I was able to do them, because before I was doing like the modified version and stuff. So, oh my God, I did this many in 3 minutes. I did this many in a minute. And, you're always like wanting to do better the next time. And, I wasn't able to do lunges before. Like that was a big one. And now it's just like I'm lunging away, like no problem. So, it's nice when you're like at a family gathering and you just like, oh, I can do them. And you just show off. But, it's just like, I'm proud of like just being consistent and just being happy with every single exercise, even though I'm sometimes scared to do something. I'm now getting out of that and being like, yeah, let's do this.
Couple points that I want to highlight. Strength and performance, right? So I'm so proud of it, because those are the things you're kind of alluding to is, hey, I can do this, I can do that. So again, for reference, when Nav came, it was years of not being consistent of working out. Doing a lunge was tough for you, like body weight lunge.
Yeah.
Today, how much could you do?
I could probably like carry at least, 45 pounds on each side and do at least 10 without like, like losing breath.
Right. And then even now, from going from just, I can barely squat probably at 90 degrees to what's a PR for a back squat?
PR for a back squat is 185 pounds.
185 pounds.
For one rep. Deadlift is 250.
There we go. So this is the point I want everyone to understand is sometimes people think, like they hear other people's numbers and they just feel, I'll never be able to do that. That was once your mindset, I can't do that. But if you just lock in on the habits and you show up 3 to 4 days a week, you become a student. Like Nav became a student of training, right? Not just training for warriors. She studied, okay, how do I deadlift? How do I squat? How do I eat properly? And these set her on a path to actually see progress. And now, like, that's one of the things that you love the most is you track your weights, you get super excited, you come and you test yourself. Whether sometimes we fail, sometimes we get the personal records, those are ways that you measure yourself on your health journey too.
Yeah.
So that's been super cool to see that. And I'm just super proud of you that even now, 6-7 years down the road, you still have the mentality of like, I'm trying to get PRs.
Yeah.
Where sometimes people get bored with the day-to-day things. And that's true excellence, is like not getting bored with like the regular routine stuff. That's how you master things. So Nav, what about what would you say? What about your fat loss? Because if I were to go back, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say when you started the journey, 240 something.
It was like 249.
See, I'm pretty good. Hey, that's a long time ago, man. And then the lowest you've been in is the 190s or 180s?
I did get to under 200 for during COVID.
Right.
But then, other things happen in life where, fitness and nutrition takes a back door for a little bit. But I'm trying to get back into it now.
Yeah. But overall, during the journey here, so like if you want to say it's been up to like 50 pounds down to like 30 pounds, right?
Yeah.
You've been able to maintain some of those amazing accomplishments.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been able to maintain, like it basically, yo-yos like to a certain amount, but I haven't gone back to what I started with. Yeah. So,
good.
And I know I have the tools and I know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I remember what I wanted to say. What I'm super proud of, and I hope you are, is a lot of times at the end of the year, we give out awards. And Nav is a routine person who gets like a 4 Days for Life award, right? Where it's like, if you look in the scope of a year, did someone work out on average more than 200 workouts, right? And that's not easy to do, man. You get sick, you have stress in your life, you have like all these things that go on. So the ability for her to make 4 days a week of training just like a very staple part of her life, I think that's one of the best things that you should be really proud about yourself.
Thank you.
All right. So again, now what I want to do is give us some insight on what you're like proud about most, because you mentioned something that I don't know if everybody like took that in, is like, hey, your husband passed away. And that was part of you being in a difficult emotional place. You're a single mom raising kids. You're not feeling healthy with yourself. Can you give us some more insights onto the things that you went through? And then like, how did you start to manage some of those situations and move forward in your life? Because a lot of people, they're going through difficult things, or they have. And some people don't know the power of fitness. They think fitness is just about losing fat. Where when you're taking care of your fitness, it's also taking care of your mental and emotional, and it helps you overcome some of those things.
Just going back to when my husband did pass away, it was December of 2013, and we were just going into 2014 at the time. And at that time, like you speak, like when you start TFW, you talk about why power. And, I knew what my why power was, and after when my husband passed away like that, I got to be there for my boys. And, I have to be that single mom and dad for them at the time. And basically, I surrounded myself with people, positive people. I had a great support system. And, it was a journey. It was like a lot of ups and downs. And then, I was able to, find a partner after, and he's also been a very, very big support system. He loves to see my lifts and everything. So I always, like the fact that there's like people behind me that are pushing me to do better. Right. So, basically that's how the journey kind of started. And then I was just sitting one day, like just still not happy with myself, even though like, I had my kids, I had my partner, where we were, happy and living life, but there was something missing. So the missing is this, like just being able to come here and be around like-minded people and just work out and have that 1 hour of just mental freedom, and just like it's more like a mental thing too, like that you just kind of everything that you're going through in the background is just noise, and then you're here and you're focused. So that's basically how it kind of just snowballed into something great.
One one expression that we always say is like, hey, bring out the warrior within. And it's like, be that warrior that when things are difficult in your life, like you're willing to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
So even before, you became TFW Nav and like all this transformation, you had to step up. Like life forced you to step up. What were the things that you had to like, what did you have to do for yourself? Because I'm sure you felt lonely, you felt lost. What did you have to do for yourself to keep going when you went through a traumatic experience like that? And what did you have to do for your kids?
I basically had to remind myself every day that like I have these two boys that are relying on me and I can't take the wrong path. And there's like, you can drown yourself in alcohol or drugs or whatever, and at that time, I'll be honest, it was tempting to go down that path because you just want to run away from just everything and like the constant reminders of it. So I think for me, every time I thought about my boys, I thought about my future, and I was like, you know what? I got to live for these boys. Like, that's it, and it was no turning back after that.
Yeah. And I love that because a lot of people go through same problems, but it's like completely different lives.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a lesson that I think everybody needs to know is you could be going through hardships. You can have a divorce. You can have someone lost. You can lose your job. But always what we have the ability to is to choose how we perceive our problems. You could have decided I'm a victim. My life is over. Everybody feel bad for me. But that was never the thing. Like for you, most people don't know what you've gone through because you walk in, smile on your face, positive attitude, you work hard. So I just want to make that point, guys, is that's the choice that you have is you can go to vices like alcohol. We can go to vices like weed and we can go to, porn or whatever the thing is, these addictions, or you can get addicted to positive things, which that's exactly what you did is like, let me spend time with positive people that make me better and make me happier, but also let me exercise, let me eat healthier, let me walk, let me take care of myself. So I can't express how proud I am for you for making those steps in your life and being able to do that. And then now what I want to really share is like, man, like who would have known like this journey of you training, losing the weight, how it would help not only you, but more importantly, your son. So we have an expression of saving lives. Give the story of like during COVID, like what you went through and how you were able to help your son, Nagash.
Okay. This gets me a little emotional, but so in 2020, in October, my son was diagnosed with a rare bone marrow disease, severe aplastic anemia. And it was actually during shred. I don't know which shred it was, but it was during a shred that this had happened. And basically, I had to go to sick kids and spend weeks there trying to figure out what the issue was because they didn't know at the time that it was severe aplastic anemia. And so it was one of those things that kind of like just hit me like a ton of bricks. So there's two ways to treat it. One way is to just have they have like an ATG system where they treat it through IV, and then it's like a medication through IV. And then the other route would have been if my elder son was a bone marrow match. And unfortunately, he was not even 50% match. So he was 0. At the time, my son and myself were tested, and I was a 50% match. And because he had severe aplastic anemia, they're able to use 50% matches as well. At the time, they said, we're going to go the treatment route because they were very, very sure that he was going to be, cured and fixed and, his bone marrow will start working. But and I was still trying to come into the dojo. At the time you were working we were doing our workouts at home because of COVID. And so I was dealing with all of that, but I was also trying to still keep consistent with my workouts and stuff. And I was losing points because I had to go to the hospital, and I wasn't able to do the 4 days that the shred requires. So that didn't work. And then they said they're going to check the registry because they want, obviously, like a bone marrow match that's closer to his age. And unfortunately, he had no matches in the system, and I was his only hope. So I had to go through a whole bunch of testing before they considered me healthy enough to give my bone marrow. And because at the time I joined TFW, I didn't realize that I would be saving my son's life, a couple years later. So that was a blessing in disguise, joining this gym. But
take your time.
He's healthy now. He's a lot better. It's just been a couple of years of just, going to the hospital and, dealing with everything. But the bone marrow was a success. And a funny thing about this bone marrow, my son tells me, is that when I was put under, they had already taken my bone marrow to put it towards my son. And my elder son said to me, Mom, like they're saying that like there's like usually the bone marrow is like thick and it's like yellowy red, and it was more red than yellow. And apparently the yellow parts are like fat. And I was like, so my son was like, the doctor just said like, there's like no fat in there. There's like pure bone marrow here, like that's pure awesome stuff. And yeah. I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Like, you guys are serious about losing body fat, right? Like, so I just, that was something that I didn't know that was going to happen when I joined this place. So,
but you know what? There's so many of these like little moments and stories. Like when we talk about it now, I remember how we all felt about it during that time. Like I was, as a coach, I was scared, for Nav, but like I think that's when we already had that connection before, but like during this time, it was just like the level of respect for you just grew even more, because even though she's saying like, oh, I didn't get all my points, you did really good. With this going on, most people would be like, hey, I can't be a part of this. I'm not going to work out. She would still come to the dojo. And this is like during COVID times where like it was more of an excuse not to. She would still come to do her workouts. And I remember you always saying, it's like, this is what's getting me through my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is showing up and being a part of this and taking care of myself. So we have that mission of saving lives, but it's like, it's not us, TFW. It's like, that's the thing that I want to remind you. It's you. Like you're the person who again made the decision to not be a victim, to I'm going to better myself. And in the long run, what it did is literally you changed your family's life. You know what I'm saying? You saved your son's life. And a lot of you will know Nav, some of you don't. Agash is like one of the funnest, like just outgoing little guys. When we went on vacation, it's like all we did was have a good time.
Yeah. So Easton didn't want to leave him. He wanted to,
So seeing him in that situation where he's like, low energy, he can't be out and about. Like I can only imagine how tough that was for you. But just being able to do that, for your son is just an amazing thing that I want you to know, like you should be so proud about. And it's just a lesson for everybody, guys. It's like when you are deciding, should I work out? Should I eat healthy? Should I walk on a regular basis? Yes, you should want to lose fat. You should want to look good and all those things. But like, you should want to live longer. You should want to be able to, what if you have aging parents, right? Like all these things, nobody thinks about it until they happen. And my question is, are you going to be prepared? Are you going to be that warrior that can weather the storm and handle these situations? It's bigger than just how we look at the end of the day. All right. So I guess what I would love for you to share now is like, give some advice. Like you're someone who, obviously you're still a student, you're still working on your goals. But if you were to kind of put on a little bit of a coach hat, take some of your own experience and give advice using our 5 pillars. So pillar number 1 is training and movement. What's a tip that you would give to the busy professional who is listening to this right now, whether they're a student or they're like someone who's like, man, I want to do what Nav's done?
One of the biggest things is like, finding the time to train, and, you know, if you have time to watch like Netflix, or if you have time to go do your nails, then you have time to, work out. Like, it's only an hour. I am a person that loves coming in at 5:30 in the morning. I like to get it over with. But I have worked out at different times because, there was sometimes 5:30 wouldn't be available, or, so I would come in at like 7:15 or something. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is that you need to schedule like an hour to come in and train, and just focus on that.
What's been your frequency that's kind of worked for you?
For me, just coming in like 5 days a week, and I'll do one cardio, and I love 5:30. I love coming in at that time. It's perfect. It's like once you walk in, like, it's like like you say, the path to enlightenment. That's how it actually feels. And it's worked for me for a very long time.
Yeah. So typically you'll do like 4 days during the week.
Yes.
Have some one rest day during the week, and then usually Saturday mornings is a workout that you'll put into.
I like to come in on a Saturday because when you work out at like one particular time, like you're used to like one particular group of people. So on Saturdays, I always get to meet new people, or they're like, "Oh, who's she? Who are you?" Even today when I did my workout, I was correcting some of the form, and Mike was like, "Oh, you should be put on the payroll." So yeah, it's nice to come in and see new people on Saturday.
So hey, good point. Hey, again, one of the first things is training itself. It's the catalyst for change. So if you're thinking about, hey, how do I transform my health right now? How do I create this healthy lifestyle? Step one is, what in my crazy chaotic schedule, when can I see myself working out? What I would recommend is not start where Nav is at now with 5 days a week. That can be overwhelming for a lot of people. But 3 days is, to me, the perfect amount for someone to start. Even my mindset, to be honest, Nav, has changed. Like in the past, if I'm like, hey, what are you only coming 2 days a week? Even now, I guess as I've matured more as a coach, I would even say, man, if I could get someone 2 days a week, like I think their life is going to be better. They're going to take, the likelihood that they're going to live longer, preventative against chronic diseases is going to go up. Can I make them lose a ton of body fat and like transform physically? Maybe not, but even 2 days a week for some people opens up the possibility for some change. So like, take Nav's advice, schedule out when would be optimal for you, and then start. That's the simplest thing, 3 times a week. Now, second one, probably the hardest one for a lot of us, is nutrition habits. What would be some tips or advice for you?
So when I first started, it was, like I said, the plate method, where I was just eating 3 meals. But then as you get into the program and you start lifting heavier, and then you start, you have to prioritize your protein and make sure you're getting your protein in, and you're in a calorie deficit. And then, as you get in the program even more, you have to start like actually calculating your calories, and, make sure you're getting the proper amount of grams in protein, proper amount of grams in carbs, and in your veggies and fats and stuff. So for me, like, now I'm at a place in my life where I actually have to measure everything that I'm eating in order for me to see results.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So in our pillar, like, so we have nutrition habits. We got like these certain elements. Element number 1 is like, eat real food, right? That's usually the biggest change. That when people just start eating quality food, they see changes. But then what Nav's talking about right now is like, hey, tracking your macros and tracking portions. So going back to what you said earlier, it's like, if you just start with like using the warrior plate, that goes a long way for people. But over time, you do want to get a little bit more specific. And like, the best place I would start, track protein. Right? Protein. So for example, for you, when you're tracking your protein, what's an amount that you like to kind of range in between?
So I usually go for about 160 to 180 grams. you do want to take your desired weight and multiply it by 0.8 or 1. And then that's basically what I go by. So
Good.
yeah.
Awesome. Paying attention.
Yeah.
From Trivet. So tracking, protein, and then like calories. This is what I would say is I don't track my calories every day of 365. There's moments, when I'm like, man, I need to get my shit together. I want to get a little bit leaner. Hey, I step it up and I have that skill in my back pocket. Sometimes I just create systems where it's like, okay, I'm going to track my protein. I'm going to track my water. I'm going to have 3 meals that include this amount of veggies. Some of these things will naturally put you into a calorie deficit if your goal is to lose body fat. But to Nav's point, I think it's really important that people spend a season weighing their food, tracking their food, or tracking their habits. Once you do it for, I would say, 8 to 12 weeks and you're super committed to it, it becomes a skill that you can always go back in. It doesn't mean you always have to do it, but a lot of people have this 0 or 100 mentality.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm not tracking, I'm just going to eat terribly. And that's just not a way that you're going to see consistent change. All right. So next one, rest and recovery.
So I do take my rest days seriously. I make sure I get my proper sleep. Coming in at 5:30 for a class, like you have to go to bed at a good time. Try to get to bed at like 9:30, but sometimes 10:30. And I like to just like go for massages here and there. And that's rest. Rest is basically self-explanatory. Like you're just taking it easy and you're not putting too much strain on your body and making sure your muscle is, the tissues are like growing again, or I don't know what the term
from
is.
the sleep, right?
Yeah, from the sleep. Yeah.
You're getting that recovery aspect, right?
Yeah.
Especially for someone like yourself. Anybody, like if you train 5 days a week, you feel it, man. It takes a toll on you, especially if you're not just like going through the motions. You're actually going for progressive overload and pushing yourself. It's so important for the rest and recovery because that allows your muscles to grow back bigger and better and stronger, right? If you are getting 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep and you're training hard, it actually becomes like detrimental to your success, right? So have you always been someone who's been pretty good at sleep, or this has been something that has developed?
It's gotten better. Like I've never really had problems sleeping, but sleeping late was my issue, right? So, just sitting there watching TV or scrolling or whatever. So now I just try my best to like have everything scheduled that dinner is going to be at this time. I mean, my boys don't sleep till wee hours of the night, but I'll be like, okay, guys, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Like, see you later. Right. So now I prioritize that more. Like I find that, sleeping helps with a lot of the recovery.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it also helps with, a lot of people don't know, it helps with just mental health.
Yeah.
Right? Like when we're going through depression, when we're going through stress, anxiety, it's like if you're not getting adequate sleep, a lot of those issues get like magnified over time. Right? So next one, these are the two that I always have a fascination with. And I think this is kind of something that we do specialized training for warriors is we explore these topics a little bit more, I think, than most personal training kind of gym programs is resilient mindset and positive environment. So for you, what's a tip that's helped you or that you think would help a busy professional in terms of building that resilient mindset?
Resilient mindset, I mean, it goes by just like, for me, like just being in this program and like learning about the core values that we have. And when I started here, like, I started hearing about it and everything. And I understand more now, like how you can use those core values, not only here, but outside in any and everyday life in your work environment as a parent or anything like that. So those are one of those things that, you may think that you have, but you learn more when you're in the program. What else is there?
Well, even if I pause you for a second, with the core values. What's the core value that you want?
Gameness.
What does it mean?
It's basically, going, after something, no matter what type of pain or suffering you're feeling. And it's pretty much one of those values that supersede all the other ones. Like it basically embodies every single core value. And I remember when you gave it to me in the awards, and Paul was there as well, and I was crying on the table because you mentioned Akash's wrestling, and he's like, "You deserve this. Go. You deserve this." And so it was nice to get that award.
I think this is, again, people don't make the connection of values and like results, but like that value that Nav got was called gameness. It's if I summarize it, it's about courage. Like you're beat up, things are going in your life not the way you want it, but you have the courage to push forward. Now you guys, when you hear her story today, you understand why she has that gameness in her of everything that she's had to go through. But what values do for you, they shape your identity. So if you know certain core values of the type of person you want to become, now they give you the rules on how you live your life. So Nav, when she's going through these challenges and she's been told, hey, you're gameness, and you believe I'm gameness, now she's like, I have to have courage. I have to do this. If your core value is, we call it sisu, meaning, hey, don't give up. If you set a task, you don't just give up. You like, I don't really want to do this right now, but I'm going to follow through with it. If it's enthusiasm, right? You're enthusiastic even when you don't want to be. So I think part of building a resilient mindset is having, we have 9 at TFW. You don't need 9 values, but it's knowing what are 3 to 5 values that I stand for as a person, but also not like just where you are today. What does the future version of myself, what are the values that person lives? Yeah. And then when you start living those values, you're eventually going to become that person, which is cool. So was there another part that you wanted to say about the mindset?
Not the mindset, but I was going to go into like positive environment and just basically like relationships. There's been a lot of like family that supports me, but then there's also like toxic people that you kind of have to. Before I used to let it bother me, and now it's like, it doesn't even faze me. So that's a big thing for me, like just surrounding yourself around people that, are your cheerleaders, pretty much for me. Whenever I post a lift, one of the first people that comment is Paul. Mm-hmm. He'll be like, go girl, or that's a great lift, or, so... he supports my journey, and, you just need somebody, not necessarily, wanting to do the same things as you, but someone that supports your journey. Yep. And my boys, I feel like I am inspiring them. And my elder son, physically, he's trying to get into the working out and stuff, but he also has a lot of inspiring things that he wants to accomplish in his engineering career. And I see him like just seeing his mom, striving and trying to get better, because he was with me and he remembers everything that happened when his father passed away. So just seeing him being like a role model for him to just keep going. And then with Akash, like he's just, going to the gym every day now, and like, working out after school and just trying to, and he'll, like the other day he asked me like, Mom, so how much do you bench? I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah. So he's like, and then I'm like, well, I go, my 1 rep max is 115. And he's like, oh, whoa, right? So, he's starting to realize like lifting weights and like how it's, my mom can do this, like, so it's the major relationships at the end of the day that you're with, because you're going to be around those people forever.
Yeah, huge. Because like, I think that's a normal thing, is when you really get involved in fitness, especially coming from a time where you're not doing it for a long time, it's very normal, whether it's family, whether it's friends, it's normal for people to question and be like, what are you doing? Like you're working out, like seriously, you're not gonna drink alcohol? Like just come on, have some beer. Like what are you doing? Like you're not gonna eat carbs today?
Yeah.
And it's not that most people like. In my experience, it's not that most people genuinely don't want you to succeed. It's most people they're like at awe that you can go and do that or have that level of discipline, and it makes them like feel a little bit bad about themselves. And a lot of times people just don't know that they're actually doing that to other people, right? And then sometimes people do change those behaviors, but I think if you go through your health and transformation journey, just be aware that yes, there are sometimes people are going to have negative criticism, but it goes back to the values that Nav knew who she is as a person now. So it's like in the beginning it was a little bit like bothersome, but then it's like you're like, I don't care.
Yeah,
like I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing this. Like
yeah,
cool.
Like there's certain like my dad and my uncles, and they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't weightlifting. It's a cultural thing. They think that girls shouldn't weightlift. And honestly, like I'll tell my dad, like I'll send him a video because he doesn't know how to check Instagram. So I'll be like, look, your daughter's lifting, and he feels so proud. Like he goes around and shows like his brother and his family, and they're all like, oh my goodness, she's gonna hurt herself or something. Like they're not used to seeing it in my culture where we're like lifting weights. And I wish I always tell my dad, I'm like, I wish you introduced me to weightlifting, because like my dad did it. And they're like, we never thought like for a girl to introduce you to that, because it was like such a manly, masculine thing.
That's the way the world was, right? And now that's the beautiful thing, especially even our program is like, hey, majority, I think if you go and check most personal training type places, majority of the people are women in there. But obviously we have amazing guys as well, but it's great that, you've realized that now, again, because you're doing it, your kids are going to be more healthier. Like that's the whole point of it, So last two questions. If you were to go back, when you're going through some of these most difficult times in your life, you're probably not your healthiest version of yourself. Now with all the knowledge, the mentorship you've received, the investing into yourself, the experiences, is there like a message? Is there like a piece of advice that maybe you would go back and give to yourself that would benefit you, but also benefit someone who's listening to today?
I think one of the biggest things that I learned when my husband passed away was like my life was at a standstill, and everybody else's life was basically, as it was. So I think like, when they say life goes on, that is a thing. Like life does go on. Like life doesn't stop. Like, but you feel like it's stopped for you. Yeah. So I feel like now when I look back, I think to myself, yeah, like life does go on. Like it depends on what direction you're going to take in your life. You could be like, okay, well, I had so many things happen to me, so my life is ruined, right? But if you're positive with yourself, like you can say, okay, you know what? Life goes on, and you're going to live your life, and you're going to keep getting, things thrown at you. Like my husband passing away was a huge tragedy. And, my eldest son was 10 at the time, and he had to deal with that. But then Akash being 10 years old when he got diagnosed with the bone marrow disease, life keeps going. It's not like happy things are going to keep happening or sad things are going to keep happening. And you just kind of have to go through the trenches to deal with whatever life throws at you. Like sometimes, like, I even say it as a joke sometimes, like, what else does God have for me? Like,
what other challenges?
What other challenges? Like, bring it on. Like sometimes I'll be like, bring it on. But, I think that if anyone is going through some tough times, they don't last. Mm-hmm. People will come into your life, and they will be in your life for reasons. Like they come into your life for a reason. Mm-hmm. You may not know at that time that they're there for, a reason or not. But, it's just this program has helped me, recognize that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then even when, as you were saying that, like that line came up to my head, it was just like, this too shall pass.
Yes.
So whether it's a very difficult time, like Nav has shared today, it's not permanent. Like it's going to move forward. Positive days could be on the horizon. But then the other thing I would say too is like, sometimes we achieve things in our life, right? Like we get somewhere in our career, we get into a relationship, we lose a certain amount of weight. That's also not permanent. Like life keeps moving. So unless you're willing to keep growing and developing yourself, yeah, you know what? If you don't take care of yourself physically, life's going to keep moving. And then eventually you're not in the place you want to be. Or if you don't keep growing in your job, you're not going to be, having opportunities financially, right? So I think that's such a powerful concept, is like, life is going to keep moving, but like the difficult things, they'll pass. Positive things will pass. It's what you do in that moment.
Yeah.
All right. So last question, Nav, you killed it today. She was super nervous, but she was a champ, spoke so super well. So proud of you. What's next for you? What's like, whether it's a personal goal, physical goal, like what's next for you? So that way everybody watching can hold you accountable.
Okay. So my niece is getting married next year, my sister's daughter. So I have this like mindset, like after the shred, don't fall off. Just don't fall off. Just keep doing what you're doing. The scale is going down. So yes, I want to be able to do like push-ups, for example. Like I have, but I wish I can do cleaner and maybe like 10, like, for a 49-year-old, doing 10 push-ups, no issues would be a goal for me, for sure. Yeah.
So you guys heard it. 10 perfect push-ups, but then also losing some more body fat.
Losing more body fat, yeah.
I'm sure the wedding is going to be, 7 days of dresses?
It's a whole week. I have to take that week off from the gym as well. Actually, no, I don't. I'll come in the mornings.
But that's also like, to me, like, how many times I sit down with people in a transformation meeting and it's like, okay, I have a wedding coming up. It's going to be in 3 months. I'm like, 3 months? I'm like, why don't you come see me a year ago and we would get you like in great shape, right? So for you, it's like that time is going to pass.
Yeah.
Take action, right? And that would be just another motivation, based on, and we could add that to the list of all the things you've accomplished.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. My favorite ones are obviously these transformation stories and interviews. Hey, if you had someone who's gone through grief, who've had some tragic things happen to their life, and they need to know that, hey, fitness and nutrition and living a healthier lifestyle can help guide them through those obstacles, share this one with them. If anybody needs some motivation to start this journey in terms of transforming your health, that's exactly what this podcast is for. 5 pillars of Excelsior Health. So I really appreciate everybody, whether you comment on Instagram, you comment on YouTube, just keep sharing it, and we're going to do our best to keep providing you guys lots of value. My girl Nav, I love you. Give me a big hug. Amazing job. We are signing out. Beastin'.